D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I watched Superman and Lois, episode 9. I don't remember the name. I never remember the names of these episodes, but let me just tell you right now. I have some thoughts about this episode, mostly good thoughts, okay? First off, I thought this episode would take place in the Bizarro world, but it didn't. I think that's what we're getting next episode. And I want to talk about the next episode real quick because it's not going to be until April 26th. And I'm getting so sick and tired of this show taking breaks. Like, I understand if they take a mid-season finale break, some shows do that. Well, most shows do that, and then that's fine. That part's fine. But I really don't like it took one break and now it's taking another one. And I don't like it. Okay. Like, I understand certain circumstances that they have to take breaks. Like, for instance, they took a break when the Olympics happened. I get that part I get. But this, I'm all like, listen, if you don't have the episodes done, then maybe you shouldn't put out the whole season yet. Maybe you should just not do the season. But hey, whatever, there's nothing I can do about it now. But I just want to say that because, like, I'm invested, and now it's like, you're teasing me, you're cock teasing me, and it's like, stop it. You stop that right now. You stop it. But other than that, this show is fantastic. I love this show so much. This was a good episode. It didn't not too much happened action wise, but a lot of stuff happened, like, with the characters, except for Clark. And I've said this before, like, I love the relationships in this show. I really do. But my favorite thing is, and they're doing it right, I think, and I really appreciate it, and I've said it before, is they're doing the father relationships really, really well. I appreciate it. Me as a father, I appreciate when I see on screen good dads. I think, me personally, I'm at least a decent dad. And I think that this show gets it. I think that you've got Kyle, even though he wasn't the best husband, and sometimes that happens, and that's realistic in this world, but at least I think he's a good dad. And then Clark, who wasn't in this episode very much, but he's a good dad. And then you got John Henry Irons. He's a good dad too. Like him and Natalie, he's a single dad. And I think that the representation as far as dads go is great because you have, like, you got a white guy, a black guy, and a Hispanic guy. And I just think that they're not fitting the stereotypical norms that Hollywood likes to play into these days of the bad dad, or the deadbeat dad or the non-existent dad. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. I can't tell you it. Also, I love the family dynamic that they're showing off. They're showing so many different families and different family structures. And it's I have nothing but good things to say about that. I just think it's really, really great, and I love it. As far as this episode goes, I liked it because we got to see, what the world is like without Superman, and I know we've seen that before, but it was just fun to see it in this episode. Yeah, let's go through this episode now and break it down. Sorry, my hair is all crazy. It's really early for me as of recording this right now, so I may be drinking some coffee, and then I like to call the elixir of life. But I will now we're gonna break this thing sucker down. But before I do, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. And I ask also that you do this to any small YouTuber. It really does nothing but good things if you just hit that subscribe button. If you don't want to watch their videos, you don't have to, but it helps out with the subscribers and everything. All right. So now that I've yapped away, let's get started on this. So it starts off with Allie, and she's in the DOD, and somebody comes along and they use Sam's, General Lane's swipey card, because if you remember, Lucy at the last episode, she drugged him and then she stole it. Ugh, that Lucy, I'll tell you what, probably one of those girls that had every opportunity in life and she just squandered it to go to a cult because she felt she didn't feel, like she was wanted and everything. You're like, oh, get out of here, Lucy. Anyways, so it opens up and it's some army lady. I don't know who it was. What's her name is. So Lane wakes up and he's all like, it's Lane. And he gets the call. And so then they go back to she asks her, she's like, I fixed the suit. And she's like, can you travel through? She's like, I'm the only one that can go through. And then I can't remember what this lady says to her after that. But sorry, my eye itches. I need to. Okay. And I love how every time I see this little portal right here, and somebody like starts going towards it like this. When Allie and Superman were going, I was like, don't, Caroline, don't go towards the light. Stay away from the light, Caroline. And of course, nobody listens to me. I'm like, don't go towards the light with the floaty G, like the Jesus. They're all floaty and everything. Anyways, she puts on Bizarro World's suit. They don't have on their suits from before. I don't think that plays. I don't know. Maybe it plays a part into it. The type of suit you use. I don't know why that would, but whatever. It's fine. She's like, and everything. And then Clark gets a little, tingle and in bed. And he's all like, Allie's going through the portal and he flies off. And he flies in there and she's like, you're too late. She's already gone. And she's like, you can't follow. You won't survive in that and everything. And so he does a little twirly and everything. And he's flying around really, really fast. Which I'm curious as to if that would have anything to do to the cave structurally. Same thing with this portal. Like this cave's just all like, hey, I'm a cave. So then he flies through, and as he does, his suit tears and he goes through the portal. Now, I thought at this point we'd get a tiny bit of our world and then we'd go straight to Bizarre World, but that's not going to happen till next episode. But we have to wait a month. Jerks. So Lois is in here and she's doing her thing, writing bills out and everything, and it says on the computer, where is Superman? And this oil rig is on fire. He's doing his homework, working at the shop. She gets in bed alone. What's his face? Jordan is training with his grandfather, and he's throwing buckets of ice. He's with his ice breath, and he's laser beaming cans, and he's punching bean bags and shit. Punching bags. And Sarah's trying to get a hold of him, but he's training. And the thing is, it comes up later, but he's doing all this stuff and he's kind of like ignoring her, and she's getting annoyed by it, but she doesn't understand, but he can't tell her. And I have thoughts on that. I have thoughts, and I'll get to it when we get to that later on. So then we get to this mayoral debate, and they're she's doing well, they're all clapping for her and everything, and Kyle is his name. He's watching, he's proud of his wife, or soon to be ex-wife and everything. Then we get this plane going down, and John Henry Irons, he's stepping up to become the new Superman. He's the Steel Superman, which I really like this a lot too. I like Steel Superman from the comic books. Like I said before, I like this suit. It's very Iron Man-y. But I wish the helmet was a little bit better. It looked more comic booky, but I understand why they don't do that. And I miss the cape, but I get it. It's totally fine. I'm not upset about it because this is very cool. I'm very cool. I think Steel is very cool. So he saves this plane and says the new Man of Steel. And I'm like, yeah, Daddy likes it. And she's, basically just trying to, get through her life because it's been a month since Clark has been gone. And she's like, all right, let's go. Where's your brother? He's like, he's listening. And Jordan's out there and he's all like, and everything. She's like, you don't have to do that. Excuse me. And he's like, Mom, he's not. He's like, I need to listen for Dad or whatever. And I need to find him, kind of thing. And Natalie is making waffles, but she's not doing a good job of it. She's screwing it up every single time. And so Steele comes home and he's like, hey, I'm making waffles. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, but it keeps screwing up. And he's like, oh, it's cool. We'll go to the thing and they'll have food there. And she's upset about what he says. She's like, are you serious? And everything. And he's like, yeah, come on, we'll go. And so then back at the mayoral candidate home headquarters, she's talking about how they need to make phone calls, go door to door, because it's the last day to get people to go vote or something like that. Yeah, it's the day of the vote. And everybody's, like, woo, you're doing, oh, Lana, you're so great, and everything. And I'd vote for Lana too. She's great. I think Lana, except she says Lana Lang on her posters. And I was like, Lana, you naughty girl. And everybody shows up to help. And this woman confronts Jonathan. And she's all like, you shouldn't be here. It's your fault that my son doesn't get to wear his jersey for his senior year. And you took that away from him. And the coach chimes in and she's like, she's not right. And Alana's all like, I think, what's her name? We'll just call her Karen. She's like, Karen, this is, she's like, this is not the time or the place. Then Lois is like, or the tone. And this is the thing. These are some polite people. I'll tell you right now, because I would have been like, yo, bitch, you talk to my kid like that again, and you're going to catch these hands. Okay. So you better watch your mouth and don't be disrespecting mine. Okay. You better watch your tone, the way you talk to mine. Okay. And I understand, like, you're all like, oh, what are you going to do? I know I'm 5 foot nothing, 100 pounds of nothing. But I will defend mine. And but they're doing a show, they're doing it right, because this is how you should act. You should just be like, hey, you need to calm it down. And he's like, and Jonathan's like, no, I should leave and everything. I don't want to cause trouble and everything. So, but he says he's going to go door to door, but he really just goes home. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably the best and everything. So then Sarah and Jordan sit down, and he can hear that there's a fire like off in the distance where the game is striking on. And he's like, hey, I got to go. And she's like, but you just got here. And he's like, yeah, I should go check on Jonathan, make sure that he's okay and everything. So John Henry's all like, oh, you leaving? He's like, yeah. So there's a fire going down in this warehouse. Ooh, sorry. It's early. I'm just taking a sip of coffee. And Kyle is there with, I don't remember the woman's name from last season, but she was like, hey, you need to come back to the firehouse after the whole situation with Morgan Edge. At least I'm assuming that's her. And they're trying to put out this fire, but there's this big whirl fire tornado inside. And he's like, what the hell? And everything, because it makes 2 tornadoes like side by side. And I don't know anything about fires. I mean, I know stuff about fires, but like, I was all like, man, I'm like, I know the whirlwind thing. I know that that's possible, but 2. And I was like, but is the whirlwind thing possible? I mean, like, it doesn't seem far-fetched that, with the air and, tornadoes happening and then fire, like, is it possible? I was like, huh, that's so interesting. It was super pretty, but at the same time, I was like, scary. I was like, they're better than me, because I was just like, hey, I'm going to bail. This building is done for. So then, Natalie and Sarah are sitting here, and Lana is talking to John Henry, and Natalie gets pissed. She walks off. And he's like, yeah, where are you going? And she's like, I have to leave. Everything. So then back at the fire, Jordan shows up, and he uses his cold breath, but then he also grabs Kyle and he flies. I don't know if he says he flies, but I don't know if he flew or if he just jumped. It looked like more like he jumped. Sorry, my eyes. I should put my glasses on. It looked like to me like he just jumped and everything, not flew. But if he says he flies to make himself feel better, I'm all for it, Then John Henry shows up. He's like, you should leave and everything. And John Henry looks very cool right here. This is super cool right here. This is going to be my thumbnail, but this is a good shot. And John Henry is very cool as Steel. And, he's all, like happy, because then John Henry starts putting out the fire. So Natalie is upset because she starts to remember her mom. And Sarah comes in. She's like, oh, okay. And she's like, this is the day that my mom died. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And she's like, I tried to make my mom's waffle recipe this morning, and he just completely blew it off, and he's totally forgotten. Now he's just living it up, trying to bang your mom, a married woman. She's like, well, married is like a stretch, because she might not be married for very much longer. Although divorces take forever, they take like a year to get divorced. It's crazy, especially, and if you're not okay with getting the divorce, it would take longer. But anyways, she's like, listen, maybe your dad's grieving in a different way. And we find out later, he just yeah, we'll talk about it later. So these two are sitting here talking, and Natalie's all like, hey, can I need to leave. Can you just take me home? She's like, yeah, I'll take you home. And Lana gets a call because Kyle's in the hospital because of the fire. And they come and they're like, are you okay? And the little one gives him this bracelet. And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. You shouldn't have came. It's your big day. Go be with your people and everything. And Sarah's like, hey, do you need anything? And he's like, no, I'm good. And she leaves. So then back at the house, Jonathan and Jordan are talking. He's like, hey, he's like, I just flew. Sorry, there's something in my eye. I just flew. And they're all super happy. And then he's like, Jonathan, I'm really sorry about what happened at the thing. That woman's a total bitch. He's like, it's fine. He's like, it's fine. I'm just gonna go and do my thing or whatever. So then they find out that there was kryptonite or ex-kryptonite inside that warehouse. And Natalie comes home, and Lois is talking to him, and she's like, what's wrong with her? And she's like, I don't know, and everything. He's like, today's the day that her mom died and everything. And I didn't recognize it. He's like, it's cool. I'll talk to her, but I have to tell you something. I should go back. Hold on. He tells him, you need to tell mom that you went into that fire and you saved John Henry. And he's like, what? He's like, I don't want to tell her. And he's like, listen, I know from experience, because I've been on her bad side for a month. If you don't tell her now, she's going to be upset about it. So you should be the first to tell her. And he's like, trust me, I know. And everything. And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, listen, he's like, you need to do it because dad left and I never got a chance to tell him, and fix things. And I probably never will. He will though. It's the show. So then, and he tells him about Jordan saving those people. So then Lois comes home and she's like, we need to talk. And he's like, Mom, I want to tell you. And she's like, oh, I already know. And he's like, you can't be mad because I didn't get a chance to tell you. And I was going to tell you as soon as you got home, kind of thing. And she's all like, you went into a fire. And he's all like, I went in to save Kyle, Sarah's dad and everything. And she's like, it doesn't matter. She's like, you are not a superhero. And he's like, dad's not here and he might not be coming home. So I need to step it up. And grandpa is training me. And she's like, grandpa's doing what? And he's all like, he's been training me to hone my powers kind of thing and use my powers. And she's like, yeah. And he's all like, and then he says, I can't remember what she says, but he's like, I don't need your permission. And she's like, you do if you live under my house. And he's all like, no, I don't, because I'm the one with superpowers. And I was all like, boom. I was like, yeah, if you got superpowers, you don't need anybody's permission. He could take over the world and you can do anything to stop him. So then back at John's house, and Natalie comes out of her room and is like, hey, can we talk? He's like, listen. He's like, I forgot today was the day mom died. And he's all like, and she's like, you're just going to forget about her. And he's like, I'll never forget about her. But he's like, it's too hard to sit here and cry about it all the time. And just to be miserable. And she's all like, I'm not gonna, not remember her, just because you don't want to feel bad and everything, or something along those lines and everything. And he's like, listen, it hurts me too, but I want to be happy again someday. And she like leaves. I can't remember what she says, but she leaves. And Sarah shows up at Kyle's house and apartment, and she's like, oh, you're bleeding, let me come in. And she's like, oh, your house looks like crap, Dad. And he's all like, well, there's no point in decorating because I'm not gonna be living here that long. He doesn't say it all like this, he says it differently, but she's all like, okay. And so she fixes bandages, and then he's talking to her about what's his face, about Jordan, and how he's been distracted. And he's basically like, listen, I didn't make your mom number one in my life. And so if Jordan doesn't do it, he doesn't deserve you, kind of thing. Which I don't think is number one, the best advice, but it's not bad advice. Like, this is the thing. And Jordan tells her he's going through something. And if she can't understand that and try to help him or at least be there for him, even though she doesn't know what's going on, then she's not being a very good girlfriend either. So, yeah. So then she leaves, and then back at the warehouse, they're like, "Hey, it's Kryptonite X." Oh no, they're sitting here talking, and then they find this inhaler, and it's Kryptonite X. Who do we know? That's a drug dealer. So they show Jonathan. They're like, "You need to tell us who gave you those inhalers because we need to find out what's going down here." And he's all like, "Listen, I will use my power at the DOD as former head," which he should just go back to being the head of the DOD because that's basically what he's doing. He's like, "I will use that to protect your person, aka his girlfriend." And Lois is all like, "And I always protect my source." He's like, "All right, you said if you say you'll protect him, I'll go get her." They're like, "Her?" And so back here, Sarah's talking to her, and she's like, "Hey, Mom, I want to talk to you." She's like, "Is there any chance Dad is going to get to come home and be like a part of our family ever again?" She's like, "Honey, I don't know." And she basically just tells her no. Like, "I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're done." And she's like, "But we'll have to talk about this later," kind of thing. So then back at the house, they bring in the girlfriend. She's very pretty. So is Lois. That Elizabeth Tulloch. I don't know if that's how you say her name. She's pretty too. Good actress too. I enjoy her very much. Everybody's doing a good job acting wise. I just want to say that real quick. Everybody's doing a good job. That's why I love this show. Everybody, even that Karen woman that was freaking out on Jonathan earlier, she did Karen quite well. So they sit down. She tells her basically, she's like, "I really don't know that much." She's like, "I just know that this one guy, I heard him talking to, it was Teddy from the trailer park or some crap like that." She's like, "I was saving because my dad has a heart condition and we keep moving from place to place because he can't afford stuff, yada, yada, yada." But she's like, "I heard them say something about this place on Old Tully Road or whatever." And she's all like, she's like, "I haven't been living here that long, but even I know about John or Jason, da or whatever." He's like, "He's bad news." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." She's like, "I'm sorry I can help you." And then Jonathan walks her home. And they're like, "Okay." Jordan's all like, "Hey, I should go with you because our grandpa can drive me up and down the road and maybe I can hear something." And she's like, "Absolutely not." And he's like, "That's actually not a bad idea." It's like, "Just let him come with and we'll go and he can just, sit in the car." So then Sarah goes back over to her dad's house, but she brings along his guitar, pictures, stuff that he can put on the wall. She's like, "Listen," she's like, "you need to start making this place your house because you're not coming home," kind of thing. And she's like, "You need to prepare for not coming home." And he's like, "All right, well, if I'm not coming home, I should put up some of this stuff." And he pulls out the little talking bass thing. And this is where he tells her, I think he tells her about the whole Jordan being not a good boyfriend or whatever. And she should be number one. Sorry, mix that up. So then John Henry is watching videos of his wife and he's watching the birth of their daughter and he gets sad, which I totally understand that. He lost his wife and he's and he needed some time. So then they go to the warehouse where they're dealing out the X kryptonite, and she's like, "Can you hear anything?" He's like, "I can hear people in there, but I can't hear what they're saying," because he's still developing his powers. She's like, "All right, we're gonna get a closer look. You stay in the car, Jordan." So they get up close and they see that they're making the X kryptonite. It's a whole big thing. She's like, "All right." She's like, "We need to take this to the press," kind of thing. And they get stopped by this dude. He's like, "You need to come inside." And he gets the glowy eyes. He's like, "Now," and everything. So then back at the thing, they're getting ready for the call. And she's like, they're counting the votes. I should get the call any minute now. So she's like, "This is it." And they're sitting here and he's like, "Hey, sweetie, you should call in Jordan because we have a 4-star general, and the best report, a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter, they're not going to let us go. They are going to kill us. So you need to call in Jordan right now. And she's like, sweetie, if you can hear me right now, you need to come and save us because there's a dude coming at us with a gun. So he comes in, he go his little ice breath on the dude, and then he punches him. I was like, oh, that was cool. And then the other dude comes in with his little glowy eyes and he shoots. But Jordan, he does this, but it goes slow-mo because he's moving so fast that it booms past him. And then he comes up behind him and he punches him. Punchy punch. And then back at the thing, they get the call and it's really, really close. It's like 43-57. She's like, you won. And they're like, yeah. This is not a look of a woman that wanted to win mayor, but at the same time, she's happy. So I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh my God, Lana, let's come party with me and everything. So she's like, this wasn't just a win for me. This is a win for all of you. And this is good news, yada, yada, yada. And they're sitting there and she's like, we need to figure this out. And he's like, go be with your friends. And he's like, yeah. So she's in here playing. Jordan comes up and he's like, I'm sorry I couldn't be here. I had a thing with my family thing. And she's all like, what was it? And he's like, I can't tell you. And she's like, I wanted you to be here and share this with me, but you weren't, and you didn't. And then he's all like, I want to be. And she's like, listen, if you're not going to put me number one, then maybe you need to take back your necklace. And he's like, are you breaking up with me? And she's like, yeah, I think I am. And she's like, we'll talk about this tomorrow. And you know what? I just want to say this right now. Sarah is not a good girlfriend. And this is why. She cheated on her boyfriend. And I know you're going to be like, it was just a kiss. Okay. And I get that portion of the program. It was just a kiss. But she cheated. And he's like, you know what? You cheated, but I'm okay with it. Well, he wasn't okay with it. He's just like, I'm going to get over it. And then she's all like, I'm going to have a friendship with the girl I cheated on you with. And he is all like, he didn't show up for good reason, but he was trying to be supportive of it. Okay. And then the one time that he has got something going on in his life and it's obviously serious to him, she drops him like a bad habit because he can't make her number one. Get out of here, Sarah. You want sympathy, but you're not willing to give back. I mean, get out of here. You suck. You're not a good girlfriend. I wouldn't take her back now. I'd be like, no, we're done. We're done now, Sarah. Have fun with your new girlfriend because she's not that awesome. Okay, I'm awesome because I got superpowers. Is she gonna save you from a burning building, Sarah? I don't think so. Anyways, so then Natalie, she comes home and John has made waffles. He's like, we're gonna have breakfast for dinner. He's like, I made your mom's waffle recipe, and he's like, hey, listen, I didn't want to remember mom today because it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to be sad. It's the fact that something about the pain. I don't remember. Shoot. I should have wrote it down. And so they sit down. He's like, but I watched it. We should remember mom by watching memories of her. And they watch her birth. This is like a cute baby. I love babies. So freaking cute. Look at that little nugget. Just squeeze it, shakes off and everything. Gosh, I remember when my kids were that small. They're just perfect. They're perfect little angels. Look at that little nugget with little hands. She's like, I can't believe I was that small. And so you were that small, little nugget. I could fit you in a little nook. Gosh, memories, right? If you have kids, you get it. Gosh, they're so great when they're like little babies and they're just all like, just sitting there and their whole job is to just sleep and eat. Sounds like the life, right? Anyway, so they're just remembering, and she goes back. This is when she goes back and she's like, hey, can I stay with the night with you? And she's all like, I broke up with Jordan. He's like, oh, come here. And she's all like, and she's like, if it's okay, I don't want to talk about it and everything. It's okay. It's okay. And then these two are walking home. And he's like, well, now that this whole thing is over with, maybe we can just focus on us. And she's like, yeah, I really like that. And they go to kiss, and he's like, and it's like that little wow, 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 wow thing. I'm doing it right. And we find out why that is, which makes me wonder. I don't know. Anyways, so then he's like, maybe I just, got one of those headaches from looking at a computer all day. She's like, hey, maybe, because that makes no sense. Anyways, so she's like, I'll walk myself home. It's only 2 blocks. And he's like, okay. And so he goes back home. So then Jordan's sitting here and he's upset. And Lois comes out with her glass of wine, a girl after my own heart. And he's all like, we broke up, me and Sarah. And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, hey, on a brighter side, you did save your mom from dying today. And he's all like, if you call that the brighter side. And she's like, hey, she's like, mister, that's awesome stuff there and everything. And then they see Jonathan walking up, and it's bad guy Jonathan, it's bad boy Jonathan. He's like, that's not our Jonathan. And he's all like, she's like, where's Clark? He's like, he came too late. And then it shows Clark in Bizarre World, and then his eyes go from like a red to a blue or whatever, and then that's it, and that's it. And that's the end of the episode. And like I said before, this was a good episode. I'm really annoyed that we have to wait a whole month, not a whole month, but pretty much a month to for the next episode. Like, yo, CW, you can't take your best show and just make us wait for more episodes, yo. Like, come on. Daddy needs more right now. And you guys aren't giving it to me, and I need it hard. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like it's such a good show. I really, really like it. I really like it a lot. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait for season 3, because they signed up for season 3. So that's gonna happen. I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to see what happens with this season and going forward. All right, you guys, I've yapped enough. Tell me, what did you guys think about this show? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? What was your favorite part? Are you like me and you're annoyed that we have to wait not a whole month, but pretty much a month for the next episode? And what's going on there? There's no Olympics now. And then who is your favorite character, and who's your favorite dad on this show? I have to admit, I think it's Clark, but I really like John Henry Irons also. Like, he always gives good advice to Natalie, and I think that's good advice is always a good thing. So yeah, all right, go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. And if you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the 26th for my Superman and Lois breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.